Welcome back to Obscure Echoes YT. Tonight we'll be reading three chilling encounters pulled straight from our subreddit. A gnome sprinting across a bedroom, a disembodied clown laughing echoing through an empty hall, and a haunting gaze of an old woman who shouldn't be there. If you're too shy to share your story on the podcast, don't worry. Head to our subreddit and post your experience for a chance to be featured on our channel. The subreddit link is in the video description below. Now turn your lights down low, get comfortable, and let's get into our first terrifying story.
The first story was written by Deep Holiday 2867. So this started around 2020. My dad worked at a restaurant/hotel called the Barn in Hockley Heath. It had a Premier Inn attached to it. Around the back of the building was a staff house for the workers who had nowhere to stay. This is how I met one of my friends. She used to sleep over to visit her dad the same time as me. The staff house halls were creepy, and there used to be this laundry room that we would hang out in. All sorts of spooky stuff used to happen in there. The lights would turn off on their own. We would hear creaking, and we even heard a clown-like laugh once. In 2022, I got a part-time job there as a waiter. One night, as we were closing up, I went into the long, narrow storage closet to grab some forks, and I was walking back out. I walked into a little boy who shouldn't have been walking into the closet. That's kind of strange. You would think a kid walking around even at that time. I'd assume you're closing around 9, 10, 11-ish. Yeah, that's weird. I said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there." It then clicked in my head that he shouldn't have been there. So I turned back around to say something, and he was gone. I think that's a part that when people experience something like this, it hits you, and you just go and think like, what did I just see? Like, this isn't normal, but I mean, to each their own, I would say, because even there's people that might see things and they still won't believe, but it is what it is. There's only one exit through that closet, and I was standing in the way. There was a part of the restaurant where it was protected by some sort of spirit. I will get into that later on. The restaurant had burnt down twice. The section had survived both times. Was the only bit made from wood. In the area, a lady who was staying in the Premier Inn had hung herself. That's kind of odd. That adds a whole new layer of tragedy to this place. Almost like it's soaked into the walls of this inn. Later in the year, I had to move to a cleaner and a receptionist in that hotel. When you went to clean the room that the woman hung herself was staying in, when she offed herself, anything you cleaned would be messed up again. Handprints on the mirror, an imprint of human on the bed, the water turning on, etc. That I call residual energy. If there was really something there and nobody actually just trying to play a prank, that's residual energy. Something there making itself known. The restaurant closed down a couple of months ago due to circumstances, but now it's just a Premier Inn. Yeah, and I think something tells me that this hotel that it is now, I'm pretty sure there's still stories to tell. Whatever is there, and if it is residual energy, there's definitely a lot of experiences that are out there. And I'll turn it over to Tom for the second story.
This story is by Pink Pixel Goose. I saw a gnome in my room. Reposted this since my old account got deleted. All right, well, we're jumping into something strong right for this one. Gnomes? I saw a flickering gnome at the end of my bed. Not bearing the lead, respect. Are gnomes cryptids? Has anybody else had an experience? Honestly, good question, because what is a gnome category? So I, 21, 23 female, and my husband, 24 male, have been sleeping in the separate beds and single beds with a bedside drawer in the middle, leaving a foot and a half or so gap. Due to him being ill and me having OCD, okay, normal setup, nothing unusual so far. So the other morning, I wake up due to him leaving the shutter open, letting the light in. It was 7:41 exactly. I remember glazing at our clock on the right when I straightened my head and I saw a literal gnome run from the end of his bed to mine. I'm sorry, what now? The accuracy of this time makes this even creepier. Like your brain wanted you to remember it happened. Yes, seriously. A gnome. It had a pointy hat, a beard, and was a foot tall at most. I saw the arms move back and forth as it was running, as it was sprinting, and it was fast. I'm talking no more than 2 seconds and it was gone. It sprinted. A foot tall little guy just zoomed across the room like it had nowhere to be. That's nuts. I was shocked and said, "See, are you awake?" He grunts. I asked him again, but louder, because now realizing that the F that I just witnessed. This time he wakes up a bit, and I tell him, seriously, I just saw a gnome. He laughed, thinking I'm either talking in my sleep or joking. I told him exactly what I saw and told him to get your ass out of bed and check it, because I'm telling you, there's a freaking gnome under my bed. Now that's the kind of panic that turns into aggression. Like, I need somebody else to see this right now or I'm going to lose it. It's kind of funny how, but now I'm still kind of creeped out. I've tried every possible explanation, but nothing fits. Honestly, the laughs wear off, but it's still deeply weird. I have BPD, which can cause hallucinations when I'm stressed, etc. But I have been fine for the past week or so. I have no hallucinations for about a month. My normal hallucinations are feeling bugs on my skins and shadow people, although never were there anything like this that I saw. And that's important. This didn't match your usual experiences, which makes me feel like a mental trick or more like something else. We have a dog. She's a French dog and very old. She can't run fast and also doesn't sleep in our room. The door was shut and she was outside. Okay, so not the dog, not a rat, not sleep paralysis, just a fast moving gnome shaped thing. What else is left? I checked for mice or rats with no luck. I've also never been seen a mouse in my room before. Any other ideas would be great, as I'm not exactly fond of settling on an idea of a gnome living in my room. Honestly, that's fair. Also, we live in Spain. Not sure what will help anybody's theories. Actually, yes, Spain has tons of regional folklores. Duendes, forest beings, mischievous spirits. Could be something older than we think. Thanks in advance. Update. Hi. The post happened last year. Me and my husband and best friend have experienced things in this house, just not me. We're actually in the process of selling it, buying a new house. It's not been easy due to some family having a weird feeling. Now there's confirmation. You're not the only one who felt something was off in this house. Yeah, that was a pretty creepy story there. Thank God they're selling it. But here's Joe for the final story. Joe?
So the third story was written by Crazy Guidance 5058. I haven't slept in my room in over a year. I'm just going to start off with I'm sorry if I don't have the right tag. This is my first post on here. So I live in an old farmhouse that was built in 1860, and I moved in many years ago. I was only about 12 years old when we moved in, but my mom told me I was sleeping upstairs. I immediately got an unsettling feeling without even knowing anything about the house. So I got all my stuff up there and I slept up there. After about 2 years, I started feeling very uncomfortable in my room and feeling like I wasn't welcome at exactly 11 o'clock every night. I've even had friends come over that I haven't said anything about this to, and around 11 o'clock, without fail, every single one of them has said they want to leave the room. Well, I'll tell you something, that's no coincidence. That's definitely something there, especially if people that have no idea about what's going on, or if there's something there, just them getting that feeling that they don't want to be there, that's a big precursor of, something's coming down. This started about 2 years ago. I originally had just put it out of my mind and tried to ignore it, but after about 6 months of that, I went to sleep and woke up to an old woman standing over my head. I blinked, it waved its hands in front of me, and she was just standing over my face, staring. I watched her fade out of existence over a few minutes with a terrible smile. I didn't go into my room for weeks after that, and then about 3 weeks later, the weird energy was just gone. So I was fine sleeping up there for about a year and a half. And then the weird feeling at 11 o'clock started every night all over again. Well, it seems that the spirit or demon or whatever it is, if it left or was just dormant, it's definitely aware, and it knows how to get to you. And it's, in my opinion, it might make things worse. So I started burning sage as soon as I would feel weird, and this has always helped. And then going downstairs to sleep on the couch. Flashback to about a week ago, I got the weird feeling. I started burning sage, and immediately my sage would not burn. Then I went up in a huge flame and blew out in the opposite direction of my breath. And I watched the flame go to the side. I think sage reacting like that, I think it might be somewhat of a warning. Like you're trying to pick a fight. So this thing that's there, it's definitely not going to go down easy. So I went downstairs, and the entire night I saw something peeking around the corner by my stairwell. The fact that I was still seeing things downstairs really worries me, because I've always gone down there to get away from the bad energy. Then it's definitely starting to escalate. It's not just in its area where it felt empowerment, it's following you now. Probably beginning stages of oppression, if you want to call it that. Well, this has now been going on since then, and anytime I look out my peripheral vision, I see all black figure of a person staring at me. Shadow figures in your peripheral vision, that's textbook oppression activity. It's subtle for now until it isn't, and things might get definitely a lot worse. I guess I'm just trying to get some advice on like what to do. I feel like things are escalating, I don't know how to go about fixing it before they go too far. And for anybody that's wondering why I don't sleep upstairs, it's because whenever I feel that feeling, I'm terrified that I'm going to wake up to the old woman standing over my face again. So I just sleep on the couch to make sure I don't have to go through that again. That experience was truly traumatizing, and I would do anything to stay away from whatever it was. Honestly, nobody can blame you. Once you see something like that, it's something that you're never going to forget. And if you're consistently going through this, it's just going to keep staying there. And you're in the back of your head. You might forget about it for some time, but then all of a sudden it'll just come back again. Extra context. My animals are all obsessed with going up there at night. There are some locks on the outside of the door to the steps, and the old emergency exit door was boarded up. I have tried to tell my family, but they all think I'm ridiculous. I don't think you're ridiculous. And sadly, people just don't believe until it happens to them. There's plenty of people out there that even when they see something, they'll always try to find an explanation. I don't know if it's out of fear or if it's just them not wanting to believe, but there is a lot of skeptical people out there, which, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I have nothing against it. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And, as far as what you should do, I think you should definitely seek professional help. Seek some paranormal researchers that might be able to help you with that, or maybe go to a church, depending on your beliefs. You definitely want to cleanse your place and get rid of anything. If there's a portal there, seal that up and get rid of anything that's there. But yeah, I wish you the best and just keep us updated because this is very interesting and definitely very scary. Um, people go through this all the time, and just like you, people don't believe them. So, wish you the best. Those were our stories for today. I hope you enjoyed them. Truly terrifying. Some of these people are going through some stuff, and some of them are just experiences. But we appreciate everybody's support, all our new subscribers, all the likes, all the comments. We truly appreciate it. If you have anything to share, feel free to reach out. Our subreddits in the description, our emails in the description. You could also reach out to us on Instagram, on TikTok. So yeah, just reach out to us, and remember, the shadows are always watching.